Hello, everybody, and welcome to Henchman Story, Issue 4, The Magnate. Stan's getting out of bed because somebody's hitting the dang door, and he's still kind of sleepy. There's nothing worse than that. Or, actually, the alarm going off. That's a pretty awful sound. So, let's see who's at the door, shall we? I managed to open my eyes just enough to see my clock. It's an hour before my alarm is set to go off, and some asshole is knocking on my door. A whole hour of precious sacred sleep gone, taken before his time. If I had the energy, I'd go rip whoever it is a new one, but since I don't, I just roll out of bed and waddle wearily towards the door.
Yeah, just a second.
I throw on a t-shirt on my way there, and when I arrive at the doorway, I slam my fist in the control panel with contempt. I should have expected the beaming smile that greets me, but that doesn't stop me from grimacing at the sight.
Morning, Stan! Gosh, it sure took you a while to get up.
Took a while. Dave, we don't have assembly for like 1,000 years. Why are you even here?
Actually, Stan, that's the thing. You don't have assembly today. Here, this was at your door.
Dave hands me a small note. I rub the sleep from my eyes as I read it aloud.
Henchman number 065. In light of our administrative changes and our integration of the Henchman program, you are scheduled to receive an in-depth review of your recent performance today. Arrive in room 243B no later than 8:30 a.m. Failure to comply will have dire consequences. Yikes, this seems a little over the top. Wait, if this was just posted here this morning, how did you know to come wake me up?
Oh, I didn't. Mine's not until tomorrow. But I figured there was a slight chance you might have an early review, so I just wanted to make sure you were ready anyway. Better safe than sorry, right?
Back. That's intentionally. What's wrong? Yeah, it was kind of nice, I have to say.
Yeah, for sure. Very, super thorough of you. Thanks for the heads up, man.
Hey, what else are supervisors / best buddies for?
Probably like a whole litany of things, but I'll assume that this is somewhere on the list. Anyway, I'd better get ready. Hold down the fort for me while I'm gone, alright?
Will do. Go get 'em, buddy.
As Dave leaves, I close the door and sigh in relief. That boy's just not all there. Handling him takes more energy than I've got this early in the day. I look longingly at my bed. I probably have time to squeeze a little more sleep, but since I'm already up, it's not worth the risk. May as well just go ahead and hit the showers. After showering, changing, and spending several long minutes trying to stave off a general sense of impending doom, I make my way to room 243B. While I've never been to that room, specifically the meetings in, I'm familiar enough with the area. It's the Lairs administration section, so unless you work for HR, you generally don't want to be there too often. As I round the final corner, I spot my destination just down the hallway with its door wide open.
Okay, Stan, you got this. No sass, no back talk, just get it over with.
Well, this is fancier than expected. Not that the bar is all that high. I mean, our break room couches hail from curbside across America. So, clearly this isn't Lord Bedlam's doing. I guess the giant scorpion on the wall makes that pretty obvious, not to mention the room's sole occupant.
Henchman number 065. You're 3 minutes early. How unusually punctual of you.
Unusual? No, I'm Mr. Punctual. That's me. I just love being on time.
Not according to our records. Or your late departure from the scene of Wednesday's operation.
Oh, right. That thing. Thanks for the save, by the way. I wasn't looking forward to another beating from Miss Dynamo. I have a feeling she was gonna break something this time.
Think nothing of it. That child is like a barking dog. Loud, but stupid. Dealing with her was no trouble at all. So if you'd like to thank me, be on time from now on. Will you?
Sure thing. Wait, by from now on, do you mean at other meetings with you? Because I sort of thought this was going to be a one-time thing. I mean, why would you want to meet with me? I'm just...
Have a seat, Stanley.
Yes, ma'am.
There are 2 chairs in front of Madame Scorpion's desk. I quickly take a seat in one of them. For her part, Scorpion stays standing, preferring to slowly stalk about the room. I really wish she'd stop. It's hard not to fidget with her looking at me like that.
Don't fret. This isn't about your punctuality. In fact, you're quite average in that regard. The henchmen here tend to be late in general. But you know that, don't you, Stanley? After all, you've been here for years, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right. I'm what you might call a seasoned veteran. An experienced, loyal henchman, or henchmanee. Henchmanist?
So you are. And how many promotions have you earned in your long and illustrious career?
Technically, about, zero-ish?
Not ish, just 0. You have had 0 promotions.
Well, I mean, I've received some pretty good compliments every now and then. That's kind of the same thing, right?
No. No, it is not.
Ugh, this would be going a lot better if she asked questions she didn't already know the answer to. I can't prevent the fidgeting at this point, and Scorpion seems to notice. She stops pacing and leans back against the desk in front of me.
Oh, Stanley, don't be so nervous. You're not in trouble. That's why we're having this meeting in my office.
And where would we be having it if I were in trouble?
Somewhere where I could be more persuasive.
Oh, well, that sounds less fun. I think.
Certainly for you, Stanley. But then again, I have a feeling that you have quite the pain threshold.
What makes you say that?
Deductive reasoning. You've been a henchman in the Bedlam organization for over 5 years with no promotions, no arrests, and minimal injury leave. Barring promotion, the average henchman career is 8 months. Why do you think you've lasted so much longer?
I guess I could do that one. I work smarter, not harder, which is true.
Well, life's not a sprint. It's a marathon. And that means you've got to pace yourself.
I have no use for vague metaphors, Stanley. Be specific.
Damn, there goes my best bullshitting tactic.
Okay, what I mean is, the thing about being a henchman is, we're not really supposed to beat the superheroes, right?
It happens every now and then.
Yeah, but not often. And when it does, usually we've got some crazy advantage. You can kind of see it coming. A lot of guys don't get that, though. They're always trying to win. Me, I know my role. I know what I'm up against. So maybe sometimes when I'm lying on the ground, seeing stars, and I know that getting back up isn't going to do any good, I just stay down.
Some might call that laziness. Even weakness.
By some, do you mean you?
That depends on your reasoning.
I'd call it knowing my limits. I do what I can, and that's all I can do.
I squirm in my seat and avert my eyes. Shit, was that really the best I can come up with?
Interesting. That's more astute than you realize.
It is?
Only a fool fights a battle they cannot win. Yet that's what people are told to do. As if grinding yourself to dust trying to do the impossible is some noble and sacred pursuit. Some call it fighting spirit, others might call it grit. Whatever the name, though, it's a fantasy. Turning a defeat into a total loss for honor's sake is the height of folly.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Just less eloquently.
Jeez, she really slipped into that all hope is dead thing quick. I bet her monologues are off the charts.
Whether you were going for it or stumbled into it face first doesn't matter. You've grasped the concept.
I guess. Stumbling just doesn't sound as cool.
That's true. Keeping up appearances is important too. But that's an advanced concept. One that I have already mastered, as you can see.
Not that she's wrong, but sometimes I wonder, does a supervillain get a huge ego after becoming a supervillain, or do people with huge egos just become supervillains more frequently than others? As I ponder that chicken or the egg paradox, Scorpion stands and once again begins stalking about the room. She didn't seem upset with my answer, so I guess the whole predator-prey vibe just comes to her naturally.
Here's the point, Stanley, and do keep this in mind. The Scorpion Group has been observing this organization for months now. We know everything about it, including you. And with that knowledge, you are the first henchman I chose to speak to. Not your supervisor or Bedlam's other acolytes.
And you kept me from getting
Oh,
flattened at that
didn't mean to
data
hit-
center.
Didn't-
Thanks again, by
Did-
the way.
Didn't mean to hit that too quick.
Yes, I did. As I said, I was protecting my investment, which includes you, Stanley. However small your contribution. You see, Henchman is still in a closed beta, and that goes both ways. Not only are we selective with the organizations that can utilize the program, but the henchmen who can join it. To succeed on Henchman, contractors need a certain mindset, a set of patterns and behaviors that will let them thrive and solidify the program's ecosystem. Based on the data, you may have that mindset, Stanley. But I can't know for sure without reviewing your performance in person. So let's return to that subject, shall we? In fact, let's speak of a specific performance. 2 days ago, you were part of an operation. Your squad was left in the rear guard. Do you recall what happened?
A very painful celebrity meet and greet.
Yes, Shining Nova is quite the famous superhero, and you two met face to face.
More like face to helmet, but yeah, we got acquainted. Kind of.
It's not very satisfying, is it? To meet someone who hides themselves so completely.
It's even less satisfying to get tranquilized by them.
I imagine. Fighting someone is so much more intimate when you can see their eyes, their hatred, their fear, their pain.
I'm, usually on the opposite end of that last part.
That's too bad. Feeling pain is well and good, but you can't really appreciate it until you've given it too. You're really missing out, Stanley. But back to the matter at hand. You were the final member of the rear guard to engage Shining Nova during that operation, and you did so alone, after your colleagues had all rushed in at once or fled.
When you put it like that, I sound pretty stupid.
You certainly didn't have the odds in your favor. In fact, we did an exact calculation of your chances of success in that scenario. They were 600,000 to 1.
And now I sound really stupid.
If your goal was to succeed. But you weren't trying to succeed, were you, Stanley? Not in the traditional sense. Why don't we review your moment-to-moment decisions during this encounter?
Scorpion strides over to the desk and presses a few keys on the fancy-looking keyboard that's resting on it. In response, the equally fancy holographic display sitting next to it comes alive. The display morphs into a miniature recreation of the research lab we raided on Wednesday. It's really exact. Too exact to be a recreation. This had to be footage from somewhere. Once it's in place, Scorpion gestures to the footage.
So, Stanley, here you are. You were faced with an A-list superhero all by yourself. What did you do?
I look at the display. She definitely watched it before. It's not like I'm going to tell her anything that she doesn't already know. Ugh, this has to be on purpose.
Well, I figured that if I didn't move, I was going to get blasted in the face, and everyone attacking at once had just failed pretty horribly. So I just kind of dove for cover.
That's sound reasoning. If unconventional for someone of your lowly rank.
Unconventional how? Seems like common sense.
Statistically, of course. Typical henchman reactions to a threat are to flail wildly in some pale imitation of attack or to flee in terror. Every now and then you may see a few try to avoid a specific attack, but it's rare for such an attempt to succeed. Based on the data, your actions and their outcome were somewhat remarkable.
I guess that makes sense, when you think about it. Most of the heroes you meet have superhuman abilities, and most henchmen don't, so even avoiding a single blow is difficult.
So, does this mean I have some kind of enhanced reflexes or something?
Oh, goodness no, Stanley. Just look at you.
Madam Scorpion advances the footage, and I see myself diving desperately for cover. I look a bit like a fish jumping out of the water. There's no real coordination. I just kind of flop around.
Yeah, I guess I see your point.
I should hope so. You land with all the grace of a bag of yams.
I think the expression is a sack of potatoes.
Does it matter? Are potatoes more graceful than yams?
Oh, of course.
No, I guess they basically have the same amount of grace, as in none whatsoever.
And yet, despite your starch-like reflexes, you managed to avoid Shining Nova's blast. Because, fortunately for you, you think faster than either a yam or a potato.
Yay me. I almost remark about what a low bar that is when I suddenly remember the Potato Pope, a supervillain whose henchmen were literally semi-sentient potatoes.
Sadly, quick thinking is sometimes no match for raw power.
To illustrate the point, Madam Scorpion lets the footage play once more, showing Shiny Noah blowing my makeshift cover to smithereens and slowly advancing on my position.
I wouldn't say it's no match, more like half a match. 40%. Maybe a third. I did get a shot in there.
A whole shot, you say?
I think this qualifies as a shot. I mean, look at that. I definitely jammed up Nova's knee joint right there. It's totally a shot.
Very well. Let's define that as one shot. Now, with that in mind, what would you call this?
She gestures to the hologram where I witness my failed attempt to take Shiny Nova to the ground and the brutally efficient counterattack that follows it.
That's also a shot.
You truly think those are equivalent?
Well, yeah. Like you said, my goal wasn't to succeed, but Nova's was. For me, a shot is just slowing Nova down. But for Nova, a shot was an attempt to put me down. You, know what I'm saying?
Perfectly. And you're exactly right.
Woohoo!
For you, getting brushed aside by a superhero is normal. But for Shining Nova, to be delayed by you for so much longer than their mean henchman disposal time is an embarrassment. Why, if I'd been in Shining Nova's position, I'd have no choice but to cut you into little pieces just to save face. Not that I'd let you live long enough to let you delay me in the first place, of course.
Well, good thing I work for you then, so you never have to think about cutting me to pieces, even large ones.
Never say never, Stanley.
Never.
But let's get back to Wednesday's operation. If you look at the footage right here, you'll notice something interesting about where you landed. What might that be?
Even though I know what she's talking about, I look at the footage anyways.
I'm pretty close to a door, and the engineers that we took captive aren't far either.
Correct. Though you didn't realize that second bit so quickly at the time. In fact, you don't notice until this moment right here.
She advances the footage until hologram me turns his head in the direction of the hostages.
And then what precisely did you do with this newly acquired knowledge?
I threatened them. Sort of. I didn't exactly have a weapon or anything, so I just pretended my communicator was a bomb.
An excellent idea! But there was one problem with that plan. Your opponent.
Yeah, I guess someone with super sci-fi vision isn't going to confuse a walkie-talkie for a grenade.
No, they aren't. That said, I also don't imagine you would have any idea of knowing that at the time. Given your situation, you made the best possible move. You made use of your environment and the weak-willed, faint-hearted tendencies of most superheroes. With a different opponent, you may have forced a standoff. Yet, even as it stands, you still caused a minor delay. See how Shining Nova abruptly halts? There's hesitation there. Weakness. More importantly, you showed the kind of attitude needed to succeed in the Henchman program, Stanley. You saw the exposed throat of your enemy, and you pressed your blade against it.
Well, I wouldn't say that exactly. It's not like I was using a real bomb. The hostages were never in actual danger.
But they didn't know that, did they? For a moment, their fear was real. Your power over them was real. Couldn't you feel it, Stanley? Didn't it taste delicious?
Like Oreo cookies.
Maybe. I can't really say that I've tasted too many emotions. I mean, maybe pain, but I think that's more like blood getting into my mouth and stuff.
If you could taste emotions, though, what would they taste like? Would happiness be sweet and savory? Would anger be all hot and spicy? Would sadness be soggy bread?
You'll grow accustomed to it, I have no doubt. It's rather addicting, and as you're starting to discover, effective. Now then, I think we've seen enough of this, haven't we?
She finally turns off the hologram. Thank freaking God. This is the first time I've watched myself get humiliated by a superhero, and I have to say, I could live without the experience.
So, Stanley, after reviewing the footage, would you say this is a normal operation for you?
No, definitely more exciting.
And after our review, would you say that you performed better or worse than your peers in this scenario?
Well, better, but
And how were you compensated for this operation compared to normal? How about compared to your peers?
Ah! What just happened? Get off this. There.
I'll answer for you. The same on both counts. But that's how it works, isn't it? You're paid a salary, and that doesn't change when things are harder or your performance is better. No, you can't earn more without a review, like this one, and they don't come often. But dear Stanley, what if I told you that you can?
you mean I, hench can?
Exactly. I admit, I wasn't entirely sold on the name until we focus tested it with a few slogans. But it really works, doesn't it?
I guess so. Where are you going with this?
I'm getting to that, Stanley. But first, why don't we turn this discussion inward? What drives you, Stanley?
What do you mean?
I mean that as a henchman for Lord Bedlam, who or what do you serve before all else?
What were my peers? Myself. Well, yeah, me. And if Scorpion's already proven that she's not particularly susceptible to bullshit, so I guess I may as well just be honest.
To tell the truth, I'm looking out for myself. Not that I won't do my job or anything, but at the end of the day, I've got to take care of things for me. That's just how it is.
I don't get an immediate response. Instead, Scorpion takes a moment to study me, as if looking me over for the first time. Jeez, her stare's unnerving.
Correct. Well said, Stanley.
Yay!
I wasn't aware this was a question you could get right or wrong.
Of course it is. It's simply a matter of being honest with yourself. No matter what you had said, your actions would already have spoken for you. During your everyday tasks, you trend right inside the average by every available metric. You do not perform better or worse than any of your fellow henchmen. You are perfectly commonplace. But when you are personally at risk during operations, you are suddenly head and shoulders above the pack, despite having no powers or exceptional athletic background. In other words, Stanley, you are performing at the optimal level for your own self-interests. You have found exactly how to do your job and collect your paycheck with as little pain and effort as possible.
Yeah, I can't really deny it, but that's just how you treat a job, isn't it? You clock in, you do what you have to do, and you clock out.
I suppose many do. But this is something that extends well beyond one's occupation. Why should you try to perform any better when you have no incentive to do so? Should you throw yourself at superheroes based on the distant dream of a promotion? No.
Ah, dang it, did it again.
You have learned that the optimal path forward within this system is to intentionally perform below your potential. So that's what you do. And make no mistake, you have potential, Stanley.
Madam Scorpion pauses to examine me once again. This time she leans closer. I try and fail not to flinch.
All you need to bring it out is a system that rewards you appropriately. And this, Stanley, is what I have been getting at. Henchman is that system. With Henchman, you would be rewarded based on the work you do. If you accept more gigs or more difficult ones, then you earn more. If you perform better on a gig, you earn more. It's simple.
Hmm.
Take Wednesday's operation, for example. You would have been paid better than your peers for that, and certainly better than your supervisor.
She's uncomfortably close now. I can't lean further back without tipping my chair over, and for whatever reason, I can't bring myself to break eye contact. You ever looked over the edge of a cliff and just had this weird urge to jump, even though you know it would kill you? Looking into Madame Scorpion's eyes is like looking down that cliff.
How would that make you feel?
Good, I guess. But, I work for Lord Bedlam.
And? He employs you, but should he own you? Your days could be his, and your nights.
What about him? She leans closer and places her hand on my shoulder. I feel myself go rigid.
Could be mine.
You mean Henchcans, right? Your program?
Why, of course, Stanley. That's what we've been talking about this whole time. You're exactly the kind of candidate we need. You'd be just perfect for it.
Before my brain can reboot and offer a response, Scorpion removes her hand and turns back to her desk. Only now that she lets go do I realize how sore my shoulder feels.
And as it happens, I know of a gig tonight that would be an excellent trial run. You should sign up.
Sure, why not? I need more information first.
Sorry, but I need a little more information before I could commit to a program like that. I mean, you make a persuasive argument, but...
No further explanation necessary, Stanley. The only right decision is an informed one. What do you think is on all these screens?
She gestures to the screens that line the walls of her office, displaying a litany of maps, charts, and spreadsheets.
Information. Data. Without these things, on what grounds can someone make a decision? Intuition? Instinct? Why, that's no better than a dog. Though I think you'll find the gig itself to be quite enlightening. Think of it as a scouting mission of sorts.
That makes sense. I'll think about it.
And I'll have to think about how to handle tonight's SNS session. It's game night after all, and I already invited Kate.
Very well. In the meantime, I suggest you download our Henchman app. You'll find more detailed information there. You'll find a QR code on the bulletin boards in the break rooms or at the entrance of the cafeteria. Tonight's gig should be immediately available to you. Take a few hours to collect some more information and think it over. But not too long. You'd hate to disappoint me.
I'm sure I would.
I'm sure I would.
Hey, I just said that.
Oh, no, that wasn't a question. You'd really hate it from the bottom of your heart. I'd make certain of it. Then, dear Stanley, you'd see where I have my other meetings.
You mean the ones where people are in trouble?
Precisely. That is all, number 065. You are dismissed.
Right. Got it. Thanks.
By the time I've stood for my seat, Madame Scorpion is behind her desk. Her attention turned to something else entirely. So I silently head for the door and step outside as quickly as I can without seeming like I'm in a panic. Or if that's the goal. Not sure it worked. It's not until I've rounded the first corner that I finally let myself sigh in relief. Thank God that's over. I feel like I just went through an emotional spin cycle. Still, I didn't do so bad considering I was being interviewed by a possibly psychotic tyrant slash tech mogul. Is that what dealing with a bona fide genuine article supervillain is like? Do you spend every second wondering if you're going to be eviscerated? I take my time heading to the post for the day. And it's only when I get halfway there that I realize the craziest thing about that woman. Despite my fears of being dismembered, weirdly enough, it seemed like we were speaking candidly towards the end there. I feel like that should mean something, I'm just not sure what. My first shift passes by quickly. Today my squad is working in the warehouse, which is like the opposite of guard duty. I'm less likely to be bored out of my mind, but my body can't stand putting in actual effort. Luckily, I don't think Dave knows how to read our inventory system, so I just need to look like I'm working hard. The key is to let him see me lift a few things early, and then stay out of sight as much as possible. All that time and energy I put into avoiding work has given me quite the appetite, and by the time we head to the cafeteria, I'm absolutely starved.
Ah, shit.
Oh, what's wrong, buddy?
I forgot that Chef Antonio and I are at war. Metaphorically, I mean. Don't worry, it's not actual war.
Oh, good. I was about to say.
I know you were, Dave. Anyway, I think I'm just going to skip the line and get a table.
So, would that be a metaphorical retreat?
I prefer to think of it as guerrilla tactics. If he asks where I am, tell him I'm in medical.
Doing my best to avoid all the seeing eye of Chef Antonio, I find an empty table and have a seat. I drum my fingers on the table and try to think of anything but food everyone else is eating. Sadly, my stomach has other plans, and it lets out a loud growl.
You filthy traitor.
That'll learn it. Show that organ who's boss.
I look up to see Kate take a seat across from me, tray in hand.
Damn right, you've got to keep them in line. Sometimes instead of doing cardio, I just berate my heart for an hour.
What do you mean sometimes? Wouldn't that imply that you do cardio in the first place?
For your information, routinely fleeing colorfully attired walls of muscle is a wonderful fitness routine. It's like Pilates for masochists.
I feel like you don't know what Pilates are.
All I know is that they usually involve a gym and yoga pants, and I can't see myself inside either of those things.
Technically, you're not wrong, and yet you're definitely not right.
Kate eyes the empty space in front of me.
Still haven't made peace with the chef, huh?
Nope, this is grade A eternal nemesis level conflict. We're destined to battle until the end of time.
Yeah, well, I don't think that treacherous stomach of yours can last that long. Seriously, just have some of my...
Well, gosh, Stan, you didn't tell me you made a new friend.
Before Kate has time to react, Dave has set his tray down at the table and extended a hand in greeting.
It's a real pleasure to meet you, miss. I'm Dave, squad supervisor.
Good to meet you.
Kate extends her hand and receives a firm shake in return. Once Dave lets go, she points to the name tag that's still on her uniform.
I'm Kate.
She's the rookie I guided around yesterday. Just happens that we have the same lunch block, so... Wait, are you still wearing that name tag?
Yeah. Is that a problem?
No, it's just that I don't think you have to anymore. That was a one-day thing.
I guess not, but I'm still new, so it's easier for people to learn my name this way.
Yeah, she's just being considerate, Stan. Gosh, you millennials have no manners.
Dude, you're a millennial, and I'm pretty sure I'm older than you. Oh god, I'm older than you.
It's this social media. That's what my papa says. Everyone has to clap back or back clap or post little emojis of clapping.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna clap, do it to my face, you cowards. Am I right?
How dare you encourage this?
Encourage what? A blossoming friendship?
More like an unholy alliance. I think I was safer with Scorpion.
You met Madam Scorpion? When?
This morning, Stan had his big review. I made sure he was up extra early to prepare, though, so I'm sure he aced it. Right, buddy?
Let's not get carried away. I survived.
Well, don't sell yourself short, because that's not always the case. Believe me. So, now that you've seen her face to face, what do you think?
I might get murdered. Because she's still, yeah, I'll go with she's still a mystery.
Honestly, she's a bit enigmatic, which is weird to say because she spoke pretty directly with me towards the end there. It's clear that she knows more than she lets on. Not just about me, but everything. Like she's always calculating something. I don't know how else to describe it.
Well, from what I've seen, that's not a bad way to put it. Pretty accurate, I'd say.
I don't think describing something as enigmatic can be too accurate by definition. Can it?
No, the other part. Calculating. What made you say that exactly?
I'm not sure. Have you ever seen that thing in a movie or show where someone is thinking really hard and all these equations start appearing by their head? It feels like that, except she seems like she's doing it without even trying.
She can make math equations appear by her head? That's not what I expected her power to be at all.
Yeah, that's it. Probably how she got away from Miss Dynamo. Just confused her with a bunch of math.
You know, that might actually work.
Right, good thinking, Stan. Maybe I should start carrying around a calculator.
I'm not sure that would have the same effect. But anyway, I was just curious. I got a similar feeling about Madam Scorpion myself.
For a few moments, Kate fidgets with her gloves and stares off into space, probably recalling her own first meeting with the aforementioned supervillain. Man, is that how I looked when I talked about it? Even if I manage to avoid death or dismemberment, it looks like Madame Scorpion is going to leave behind a big old pile of emotional scarring.
Look, just be careful around her. I'm serious about what I said. Not everyone that walks into a room with Madame Scorpion walks back out.
Why do you say that?
Because it's the truth. At least I think. Look, this is just a rumor, but the word is that before she founded the Scorpion Group, she was basically the apex predator of the assassin world. That's how she got the money for it. She doesn't do it anymore, I don't think. I mean, that's the rumor, but you know what they say about old habits.
You can't teach them new tricks.
Sure, but mostly they just die hard. And for Scorpion, people die a lot more easily.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. My old habits die hard too. And sometimes I think I'm back on the farm. Today in the warehouse, I called the crates hay bales by accident, and this other time I thought someone's pet parakeet was a chicken.
So what, you tried to take its eggs or something?
No, my sister collected the eggs. My job was to butcher the ones we ate.
That sounds pleasant. Hey, wait a second!
Oh my god, you didn't!
Well, it looks like we finally solved the mystery of what happened to Lord Birdlum.
It was an accident! It was just old habits, like you said!
I think that crosses the line from habit to disorder. Although, now that I think about it, that's a pretty good example for this situation. Thanks, Dave.
Oh, you're welcome, Kate. Just a little squad supervisor nugget of wisdom for you. I've got loads of them.
I bet you do. So, basically, Stan, be careful around Madame Scorpion, or you could end up like Lord Birdlum.
Oh, joy.
Delicious?
Dead, Stan. Very dead. But luckily, the most dangerous thing that you'll encounter tonight are some bad dice rolls, right?
True, though they'll be more dangerous for everyone else since... Wait, does this mean you're playing?
It may, if your party has room for a paladin. You said they needed a tank, right?
Yeah, that's perfect. Just a normal paladin, though? Anytime someone plays a paladin around here, they're usually a dark paladin instead. Because, you know.
Oh, right. I mean, of course it's a dark paladin. I just figured that was obvious. Wasn't that obvious?
Paladins? Dice rolls? What are you guys talking about? Wait. Oh, are you guys playing spells and swords tonight? Oh gosh, that sounds fun. Can I join?
I tried to hide my wince. Oh, crap. I should have been more careful. I knew if he heard about it, that he'd invite himself.
I don't see why not. There's not a limit on players. As long as it's okay with Stan, of course.
I glance at Kate, looking at the teasing glint that I know I'll find in her eyes, but there's also something encouraging, as if she's trying to nudge me into saying yes. She's right, of course. Technically, I could say no, but technically Dave is sort of my boss, so as much as it might disrupt things, my only choice is to accept.
Sure, Dave, you can join the party. What class are you going to be?
Gee, I'm not sure. Is there a class that's kind of like a squad supervisor? That would work great!
How about a cleric? They're sort of like a supervisor.
So they make sure everyone is on time and focusing on their work?
No, I mean they help support everyone and keep them feeling good. Supervisors aren't supposed to do that?
Oh, Stan, it's okay. Being a squad supervisor is a complicated job. Not just anyone can understand how it works. But I don't really have a better idea, so I guess that'll work.
I shrug and sign resignation. Well, if he's going to invite himself into the party, it may as well be as a healer. Kate and Dave continue to discuss plans for tonight's session, but I tune it out. I've forgotten something important. Oh shit, the gig. I got so into all this talk about spells and swords, I forgot about it.
So, not to change topics or to kill anyone's enthusiasm, but I may have gotten ahead of myself about tonight's session.
What's wrong? Is a dark paladin not villainous enough? Do I need to be a demon paladin or something?
No, there's definitely enough villainy. It's just that something else happened in that review. The thing is, Madame Scorpion asked me to sign up for a Henchman gig. Tonight.
Wow, that's great, Stan! As your squad supervisor, I'm proud of the recognition you're getting for your hard work, and the recognition your squad and squad leadership will also get for helping you work so hard.
Sure. Thanks, man.
I looked at Kate, not sure what reaction I should be expecting. Disappointment, maybe? The reality is more along the lines of pensive silence and a hint of concern.
Did she say what the job was?
No. There's a few more details in the app. Here.
I pull out my phone, open the Henchcam app, and hand it to her. She won't find much more information there, just a general description of the job, the pay, the time, and various ratings for different parts of the job. Things like the general difficulty level, expectations regarding the use of lethal force, civilian presence, and the possibility of superior intervention are all given different ratings out of 5 stars. No location is given. Meeting coordinates are sent through a separate, encrypted message shortly before the job if you decide to accept. More information would be nice, but I can't say I expected much more. Kate frowns as she scrolls through the data and hands me back my phone.
Seems like a good payday. Could be risky, though. This is an entry level from the looks of it.
That's the idea, I think. It's meant to be some kind of test.
That's a tough call. On the one hand, this is Madame Scorpion, and she's not used to being refused. On the other hand, if it's meant to be a test, then it will definitely be dangerous. Plus, you'd totally be missing out on our awesome Spells and Swords adventure. So, if I were you, I'd take some time to think about it. I won't blame you either way, but if you had to decide right now, which one would you pick?
Side gig.
Well, I do love money. So right now, I guess I'm leaning towards the side gig.
Really? I didn't realize things were that tight for you. The henchman rates seem pretty good for this assignment, so I get it, but I won't lie, I'd be a little disappointed if this super exclusive SNS meetup of yours is cancelled after all the hype. I was kind of hoping we could hang out. But it's no big deal, really. You do what you've got to do.
Hey, I'm not blowing you off. Promise. And this is just what I'm thinking right now. Maybe I'll change my mind. Who knows?
Well, whatever call you make, don't sweat it. Honest.
Thanks, rookie. Whatever I end up deciding, you guys will be the first to know.
And how are you going to let me know exactly? Carrier pigeon? Or do you guys send messenger rats through the walls around here?
Oh, right. We never exchanged numbers, did we? 1 second.
After fumbling with a few pouches, I remember which one holds my phone, and we exchange contact information. Dave insists on doing so as well, which doesn't seem entirely appropriate, but that's Dave. That might be a good biography title for him. Not entirely appropriate. Maybe the whole Lord Bedlam operation as a whole. Gotta hang on to that one.
There we go. That'll be easier. Though, I admit, I was sort of looking forward to some kind of trained animal messenger.
Honestly, they might be more reliable. The reception at Secret Mountain Base isn't great. Big shock, I know.
The rest of lunch is filled with small talk. Nothing groundbreaking, but it's oddly relaxing. Kate's better at redirecting Dave's enthusiasm, and he only mentions that he's a squad supervisor like 3 or 4 more times. With Kate around, the dynamic of our spell and sword session seems like it has potential, even with Dave's unexpected last-minute addition. That is, if I decide to go to it. I'll see where my head is at in a few hours, regardless of my current feelings. Kate's right. This is a decision that I need to think about very carefully. As the day drags into the late afternoon, I return to my room and change into my spare uniform and freshen up. Neither game night nor the side gig feel like the right venue for that sweaty warehouse day aroma. Maybe I should invest in some cologne. Between the sweat and getting thrown into a dumpster, I've had a lot of smells to cover up lately. As I finish buckling up my uniform, I grab my phone from where I left it on my bed. Frowning, I open the Henchcam app, navigate to the gig Madame Scorpion mentioned, and stare. This is it. I give myself all day to think. What should I do? Unwind with some spell and swords at game night, or take the Henchman gig and go earn some extra money? Oh, I think I need to take the side gig. I don't want to piss off Madame Scorpion and the money. It'd be great to get to know Kate better, but must take money and not piss off the psychopathic assassin. I tap the button labeled accept on the app. I could use the extra money, and turning down Madame Scorpion's direct offer feels like it could end very badly. Exactly what I was thinking. She might have been supportive of me taking more time to gather information and evaluate my choices, but I get the distinct feeling that she still has a right choice in mind. Hers. Taking your time with big decisions is a good idea, but a bad decision doesn't get any better because you agonize over it more. Then again, Scorpion aside, this side gig doesn't look that great for my health either. If any of these waivers I keep scrolling through are any indication, Jesus, why are there so many of them? I get it. If I'm injured, get sick or die, I can't sue the Scorpion group. No need for a whole paragraph on defenstration alone. I don't think I said that right. After a few moments of waving rights that I didn't even know I had, a map finally appears, pointing me towards my nearest pickup location. Looks like it's outside the base, in the middle of the forest. It's appropriate, I guess, but this whole crowdsourced Black Ops shit is a weird vibe. They may not let me use my phone once we leave. Oh, they might not let me use my phone once we leave, so I'd better text everyone beforehand. Dave will be disappointed. He may just have found out about it, but anything that can be tied back to the team building or squad unity can become as sacred as Lord Bedlam's philosophy to him, such as it is. Well, he'll have to get over it. I've got my own priorities, and he only has to say on what I do during work hours. Outside of that, it's my business. Kate's another matter entirely. After texting Dave, I type out a message to her, but hesitate before sending it. She seems generally excited to be part of the game, and part of me feels like I'm letting her down. But she has to understand, right? She's on the app herself. It wouldn't be fair of her to knock it. I'll just have to make it up to her. I shake off the guilt, press send, and pocket my phone. No going back now, and the meeting points a ways off. Better get moving. And that's where we'll stop. And we'll leave this for the next episode. Guys, thank you very much for watching. We got our first gig. Stan's got his first gig, and he's going to have to skip on his SNS or whatever it is. Spells and Swords, that's it, for his friends. But hey, it's money, and like I said, pissing off that assassin, not a good idea. No, it would be very unhealthy for me. So I think it's a good idea. I took the gig, and it'll be interesting to see what happens. So guys, thanks again. I thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. Leave a like, follow, subscribe, do all those wonderful things that help me out. I do appreciate it. I really do. And I do hope to see you guys here in another episode of Henchman Story. Bye-bye.